5 ways to simplify your paintings. Simplification in art involves taking the complex details which we see all around us and simplifying it into a story, or a work of art. The colors on your palette. Your color palette is the first place you should look if you want to simplify your paintings. The more colors you have on your palette, the more complicated it is to manage. Every additional color on your palette introduces a vast range of color mixing opportunities. In the right hands, this may be an advantage, but in most cases it is not worth the added complexity. Painting with just a few colors on your palette is usually referred to as a limited palette. I recommend most beginners start with a very limited palette, then expand from there if needed. This will force you to learn how to actually use and manipulate your colors. Knowing how to use color is far more important than the colors you have on your palette. A good limited palette to start with comprises of red, yellow, blue, the primary colors, and earth color like raw umber and white. This will allow you to mix most of the colors you will need for your painting. I suggest you take a look at the colors you have on your palette when you are creating your next painting and think about if all the colors are actually necessary. Do you really need 3 different types of green? Or that vivid orange? The number of brush strokes you make, you should treat every stroke as an important step in your painting. If you are not sure about what to do with your next stroke, try to avoid mindlessly applying paint to the canvas until it works out, or until you end up with a muddy mess on the canvas. Many of the Russian artists demonstrate some remarkably efficient brushwork. It always amazes me the amount of information they are able to depict with just a single stroke of their brush. The value structure. If you look around right now, you will see all kinds of values from light to dark. These values are probably not well organized. Note, if you ever do studies of master paintings, be aware that the artist has already simplified the subject. If you were painting that same subject from life, it would be up to you to simply the subject. The brushes you use. My partner commented the other day on my painting process that I do not seem to change my brush all that much. I guess she figured that I use a different brush for every different circumstance, a fan brush for the leaves, a flat brush for the trunk of a tree, or a clean brush for every new color I mix. But I find that the brush type does not matter all that much. What is more important is how well you handle it. I rarely use more than a handful of brushes for a single painting, since the majority of brushwork can be done with a few filberts and flats. These are my workhorse brushes. As you become comfortable with all your brushes, it becomes less necessary to change between them. You will find that one type of brush can make similar markings to other types depending on how you use it. For example, if you turn a round brush on its side, it makes a similar mark to a filbert brush. If you use the thin edge of a filbert or flat brush, it makes a similar mark to a round brush. If you push down with a round brush, it makes thick marks like a filbert or flat brush. This is not to say the type of brush you use is not important. Of course it is. But it is not as important as many people make it out to be. When you are creating your next painting, consider if you are using too many brushes. Do you really need 2 different fan brushes, or a fan brush at all? Do you need 5 small round brushes? By all means, keep the brushes around, but try to limit the number of brushes you use during a painting. This will simplify your brushwork and your decision-making process. The level of detail. A great artist knows what to say, but also what not to say. Knowing what not to say is harder than it sounds. Our default response in painting when we are not sure what to do, is to paint everything. When creating your next painting, consider exactly what you are trying to say and what details are important. Then simplify the rest. If you have mountains in the background which are not the focus of the painting, simplify them. If clouds are not the focus of your landscape, simplify them. Those rocks in the foreground, simplify them. Also, don't forget you can crop out parts of a subject entirely. If an area is not adding any value to the composition, then consider cropping the frame so that it is not included. Thank you for feeling our sharing. You can make a picture for yourself as a souvenir, for your friends, relatives. Or now, if you want to make a surprise gift for your dearest ones. You can give this great job to us. Please send us your most favorite photo and we will choose the best artists to convert into a work of art by hand painting. Your loved one will certainly be very happy to have this meaningful gift. Right now click on the link below the description. And enjoy! If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe for more, or share to help more people. Thank you so much. I attached link below description. Access now and follow it. Thank you.